and I'm not here to be an anti-puffster. I'm not part of anybody's tribe. I'm
Mhm.
simply wanted to. I had this story on my heart. It's been on my shoulders as it was Lance,
Right.
and he's just as proud, I'm sure, of this book as I am because it tells it includes him. But also I needed to get it off my shoulders, man. I'm a fiction writer.
Mhm.
I knew early on I had to take my real life experiences and turn them into something that I can make money, make movies, and be happy for the rest and beyond, actually beyond my mortality. My my legacy would live beyond me living. So
Mhm.
that's my whole agenda right now.
Tell me what happened when you said he tried to kill you.
I'm going from Westchester to Harlem to different nightclubs, picking up money. I got my security guard with me, Lance,
Mhm.
and I have an intern with me, Rico. And we go to a club called PJ's in Harlem. We go to Wells. We go to Perks. Go to Sylvia's. These are places that advertised in my magazine, the Superstar magazine.
Mhm.
They paid me weekly. We didn't have Cash App, Apple Pay, none of that, right?
Right.
So sometimes they pay me monthly. Sometimes they pay me weekly. I didn't care. I needed revenues coming in consistently. That was just what
Mhm.
I did. And clubs also advertised in the event in the magazine. Anyway, we're heading we in Perks now, and we see there was a Perks or PJs. There was a promoter of Death Row East. They were starting Death Row East, and he had T-shirts. But your question was about Death Row East? That night they gave me they were giving out. The guy had a few T-shirts, and broadly it said Death Row East on it. You
Okay.
know, the guy said the guy when he gave us the T-shirts, he says we're starting Death Row East. You understand?
Mhm.
So he's giving these T-shirts out, and I threw one on, not cognizant of the East Coast West Coast beef. I knew about it, but it didn't affect me. I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't a
Right.
player in it, if that makes sense. So I felt like, okay, I'm wearing this shirt. Okay, I mean, I'll promote it. I would promote anything back then. To be honest with you, I was just out there to get paper.
Right. Right.
I didn't know how this was going to help me, but he did say, "Hey, maybe we can work together." Shit like that. You know how they talk, just to
Mhm.
get you to wear the T-shirt. And so I was wearing the T-shirt that night. Now we're going downtown Manhattan. We're heading downtown, and we go downtown Manhattan, and we go to a club called Downtime. And Downtime, um, there was a parking space across the street,
Mhm.
which is like the only parking space. So I grabbed it. I mean, all the other spaces were taken. Manhattan parking is. I'm surprised I got a spot.
Right. Terrible.
There's a line of people outside. They let us through, no line, waiting online. I had a couple of magazines in my hand. My latest magazine probably came out, so I'm promoting. I'm doing what we do. We always go in clubs. We always give pounds. Red Alert was playing that night. Wherever Red Alert was playing, it was
Mhm.
always packed. And we go around, and then he gives me shout outs on the loudspeaker, and just in the club system. We're in there for about an hour. So we come out of the club, and now there's a sea of people outside. AG, there's a sea of people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
I'm talking about cars. Nobody was getting in the club. It was sold out. And if we can't get in the club, we'll make a party outside, right?
Right.
So that was the atmosphere. Loud music, people outside, doing what they do. Anyway, we were focused. We marched right over to the Isuzu Trooper. That's what I was driving, a maroon Isuzu Trooper.
Right.
And we jump in the Isuzu Trooper.
Mhm.
And Lance is not driving. I'm driving. Lance gets in the passenger seat. It's a stick shift, by the way. Rico gets in the back. Rico is an intern.
Right.
Okay. He's also a fan, and we learned that night.
Okay.
We about to pull out, bruh. Puff pulls up in a convertible sports car. He's not driving. He's in the passenger seat, so he's next to me.
Right.
Do you see that?
Right.
He pulls up to Rico first. Rico's in the back seat, and he's like, "What's up?" And and Rico said, "What's up?" And then he pulls up further, and he looks almost around me, and he said, "What's up?" to Lance. And Lance says, "What's up?" And then he looks at me. He's like, "What's up, bitch?" That's exact, like word for word. And but my adult eyes, and I was in my 20s, but in my adult eyes, yeah, I was in my 20s, my late 20s. My adult eyes, I'm looking at me coming out of this club, bright lights, security, whatever, my guys with me.
Right.
And I'm wearing Death Row East. And we know the temperature between East and West Coast was crazy, right?
Right.
So for me, I think he saw me already as an enemy. And now I was maybe down with Death Row East, right? Promoting them. And so that, just trying to give you some perspective from my eyes now. But still, I didn't do nothing physical to him. I didn't attack him. I didn't, whatever it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rappers, they rap and claim all of this shit on record. It never comes off record, bro. Right?
Right.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Rappers always talking shit, rap beef, Jay-Z and Nas.
Right.
It never comes off the record. This is way different, bro. I'm as real as rap gets when it comes to this shit here. So when he says, "What's up, bitch?" The first thing I immediately said, "Yo, Puff, keep your negativity to yourself. I don't want nothing to do with that shit. You got issues." And he did. Whatever the issues were, we knew he had issues. Lance pretty much got most of it straight. I will say that he pulled his car back, let me out of the parking space, because he was like there's no way I could got out.
Right.
I was boxed in. So, but I didn't feel threatened. He backed out. They let me out. We drove up to the light. I thought it was over, to be honest with you. Lance is the one that kept an eye out, who said, "Yo, I think they following us. All right, let's make this left turn. Maybe not." We make the left turn. We're in Herald Square, literally where they have the Macy's Day Parade.
Right.
It's well lit. I mean, the street is a stage. And his car pulled over and almost cut us off. And so I'm on an island, like I'm about 6 inches off the ground on an island with the Isuzu Trooper. And I jumped out. Lance jumped out. I thought it was going to be a one-on-one.
Right.
I wasn't afraid of him. I was ready to go. But Lance recognized these other cars. It was like 4 or 5 cars with him, and they were mob deep. And he yells, "Gun, gun!" And I hear the pop. I thought it was a firecracker. He was the one that was talking to, he was the one that's trained in guns. Lance.
And this is all in the middle of Herald Square. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
And so when he yelled that, he told me jump back in the car. Like this all happened, boom, 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 right? I jumped back in the car in the Zuzu Trooper, and that's a horse for me. That thing is a horse. So I jumped over the island, and now we're going down one-way street. A lot of adrenaline. You know, got cars chasing us. Again, like he said, we were on two wheels at one point. You know, just like literally could have flipped the whole truck. It was a scary moment, bro.
Before
You
you
know,
go on, I'm sorry to stop you, but when they said gun, when Lance said gun, did you see a gun in Puffy's hand?
oh no, I don't think Puff had a gun. Oh no, he would have shot me because I was right. I was getting ready to go head to head. No, there was no. He didn't have no gun. He didn't have no gun. So no.
So one of the goons had the guns, I'm guessing.
Goons. I'm not calling them goons. I'm calling them dick suckers.
Right.
Nah. They stood to gain nothing from being with him. They would just be around him because of the fame and the money. You see them now. They all up on YouTube.
right.
That solidarity, unit. There's no unity there. Nobody give a fuck about him. He's not paying them. He's in a different world now. So, yeah, man. Yeah, it was them. It wasn't him. At the time that had any gun. I didn't never feel no threat of a gun. I don't think I would have faced that. I think I would have been smarter. Lance wasn't carrying that night, and Lance carries. It's just coincidental. He wasn't carrying. If he was, it would have been worse. We would have been the story before the J-Lo Shine event.
But did you see him wave or gesture to his Puff gesture to his guys to shoot you?
Nope,
or
I didn't see that. So if you're saying like,
I'm just trying to paint the picture clear for the people. That's all.
Yeah. So I'm not saying Puffy said get him, nothing like that. But who could say? Who could say if first of all, were they following me from Harlem? I don't know. Second of all, like, okay, so maybe they were outside. He couldn't get in the club, so they were part of that whole thing, right? Where they couldn't get in the club and they were just making it do what it do in the street. But then I come out. Now I'm on stage, and he decides, like, a switch flipped. Maybe that was a trigger for him.
Right.
And now instead of staying there and partying and being seen by the way, the top was down on the convertible, right? It was him. You could see who, it's Puff.
Right.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry, but this whole thing is kind of crazy for shots to ring out in Herald Square, especially if we're talking about.
Oh, well, wait, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning though.
Oh, okay.
It's not busy at all. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning. There were cars, but it was not people. Because I used to sell books on 34th Street, bro. And so I mean, I know when traffic is hitting, because I would be out there when there's foot traffic. But I know when it dies down too. You know what I mean? It pretty much dies down after midnight.
Right.
And
so no police presence.
Saturday night. No business. No police presence. No businesses open. This was pre 9/11, so it definitely wasn't that. Yeah, you could probably get away with shit pre 9/11, which pretty much happened that night. I didn't go to the police, bro. That wasn't, again, male ego, young, black. We ain't going to police about this. We're gonna take care of this ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, that's the state of mind.
So continue from there. You guys get out of the just where you left off.
Oh yeah, we raced off. We went through a red light and we lost him. I was driving. I'm a very aggressive driver, and we lost him. So that, man, it was gonna get ugly from there. It was gonna get ugly. And see, I lived in New Rochelle on North Avenue.
Right.
And Misa lived on North Avenue. Just pretty much blocks away. She lived over across the street from Waikagill Country Club. I lived across the street from New Rochelle High School. I'm telling you, anybody know New Rochelle, you look that up on a map, you'll see we weren't far apart. So I knew where the kids were dropped off, picked up, where the liaisons. I mean, these are things that I knew simply because I lived in the neighborhood. That so what I did was I wrote about it, and I wrote it fictionally, and I wrote fictionally what I would have done, and I wrote factually in this memoir what actually happened. Yo, this would be interesting.
Hmm.
I never did this before. This would be very, very interesting because you're hearing from me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a promoter. Um, it's possible I might just say any old thing, just to sell a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would like you to hear what happened next from somebody that was with me.
Okay.
Are you open to that? I've
Yeah.
never done this before. He's so hot. His name is Lance. He was my security that night. You telling me?